We are out west tonight in California's Central Valley to put a bow on a monumental Saturday in USL League One. It's a Central Valley Fuego side desperate for points, looking for revenge against Richmond Kickers. Tonight's match presented by Daisy Press. Well, we say hello and welcome from Fresno State Soccer Stadium. Let's jump right into the league standings. You see Central Valley currently in the cellar, just on 3 points, winless in their last 6 league matches, but not far off the team occupying the final playoff spot in Richmond. Just a 5-point disparity, which makes tonight a major 6-pointer in USL League One. For Jermaine Jones's bunch, it is 10 matches winless in all competitions, but Rob Coronado has been a major silver lining, a man who's scored 4 goals in the last 8 matches, the bulk of which have come from the penalty spot. He's ice cold there, but also someone who is not afraid to marshal the midfield and is a major presence who brings 5 years of USL Championship experience to the folds. On the other side of things, for Richmond, the man leading the line tonight is a familiar thorn in Central Valley's side. 3 goals, 2 of which came the last time these two teams met, including the 73rd minute game winner on April 6th. He's a massive presence for Richmond, a revelation up front. Just about set for kickoff here in Fresno tonight. Richmond looking to do the double over Central Valley. Fuego hunting a measure of revenge. Lineups and kickoff, and we get the ball rolling next on ESPN+.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
We welcome you back to Fresno, California, as we get set to renew this second meeting between Central Valley and Richmond Kickers. Tonight's match presented by Daisy Press, the second and final match between these two League One sides tonight. Let's jump into the starting lineup, starting with the home side, Central Valley Fuego, and if it looks different to last Saturday, that's because it is. 6 changes from the defeat at Northern Colorado in the Fire and Ice Cup. The notable one up front, Dembor Benson, the 28-year-old who scored a brace against Fuego in the second round of the U.S. Open Cup, now leads the line alongside Zaire Vasquez. For Jermaine Jones's bunch, it is Carlos Aviles back between the sticks as well for the hosts. On the other side of things for Darren Sawatsky's squad, less changes from the 1-0 defeat against Charlotte in the Jägermeister Cup last week. That change is in the midfield. Neil Vignoles re-entering the fray after missing last weekend on suspension, and also a change in formation, a 4-3-3, which moves Maxi Schenfeld up to the front line, usually a left back. Now he gets the nod in a front three alongside Chandler O'Dwyer and Adrian Billhart. Look out for O'Dwyer, the man we spotlighted off the top, as well as Billhart. 4 goals in the league, also had a brace against Tormenta a few weeks back in the Jägermeister Cup. Well, back in just about set for the start of proceedings between Central Valley and Richmond kickers. You see Richmond in the white strip tonight with the black numbers. I'll be going from left to right on your screen in the first half. Central Valley in the red with the white numbers going right to left. For Central Valley, it is about finding the right combination and stringing some results together. Winless since the season opener. For Richmond, it is about mounting more of a spurt and establishing separation in the playoff places. Vignal standing over it, and we await the referee's signal. And Rafael Bonilla gives it. The ball is rolling here in Fresno. We welcome you in. Sam Goldfarb here, bringing you all of the action tonight. Central Valley squad that has taken its lumps over the early course of the League One season, but now in its first league match in a month, hoping that June treats them a bit more kindly. Early offside flag up against Simon Fitch, the dynamic right back for Richmond. Well, for Central Valley, we alluded to it. A 4-3 defeat last week in the Jägermeister Cup. That was on the road in Windsor, Colorado against the Hailstorm, to fall further behind the 8 ball in the West Group. And in that match, it was quite the thriller. Fell behind 3-1 midway through the second half. Clawed back 2 goals in a 3-minute span to pull themselves level. But ultimately, conceding an equalizer just a couple minutes from, or a winner, I should say, a couple minutes from full time, and Jermaine Jones lamented the number of mistakes made by experienced players in his squad. He has since completely overhauled the 11 between last week and this one. Here is Billhart for Richmond, and a little tug of the shirt from Chris Heckenberg. And when talking to Jermaine Jones about last week, he said he was proud of the fight his team showed, and they've shown over the course of this season they can compete with virtually everyone in the league. The issue has been turning that fight into results. You mentioned it, winless in the last 6 league matches, winless in the last 10 overall. In those contests, there have been silver linings, and it is just about cutting down on key mistakes at pivotal moments. Mariona dragged down on the far side, wins Fuego their first set piece. And there you get your first look at the man between the sticks for Richmond, Pablo Jara, making his 4th straight start in all competitions. There has been an active goalkeeping battle between himself and Ryan Shello, and Darren Sawatsky says that is ongoing. But Jara brings the edge experience-wise and has been the hot hand of late. Sawatsky is passionate about rotating his squad and giving everyone a chance to establish themselves. Here's Benson. Quick flick back. Benson receives it. And ultimately it dribbles quite harmlessly to Jara. The new signing for Central Valley is a bit slow to return to his feet. There is your first look at the new Central Valley number 9, signing officially for Jermaine Jones on Wednesday. Here's his first bit of action. See him get on the end of this little collision of legs between himself and Guy Franca. Nothing in that challenge ultimately, but a little stinger for Mr. Benson. A man who has gone from cup set darling to hopeful Central Valley starter. There's no foul here, just a man down for Richmond. Get another look at this. Chandler O'Dwyer. Heavy challenge comes from what appeared to be Acha Issa Yaya. And just came off worse for wear after that tackle. Good to see he's back up. Speaking of men who have had success in this fixture, we mentioned it off the top, a brace and the winner the last time these two teams met for the England native. This is Heckenberg for Fuego. Well, if you're joining us on the East Coast, we say hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning in to League One After Dark. Out west, it is still quite bright. 7:42 local time in Fresno, California. Beautiful weather, as you would expect from California in the summertime. Fuego team returning home after back-to-back Jägermeister Cup matches on the road. They're playing their first match in the friendly confines of Fresno State Soccer Stadium in a little under a month. Last time they took the pitch, it was a 2-0 league defeat against One Knox. Bill Hart looks through to O'Dwyer, and there's no question about this offside flag. Hoof it long for Benson. Too tight on Jara in the end. Barnathan. And O'Dwyer's been a familiar offside rule violator, we should say. He's drawn the flag a couple times already tonight. Benson. Hunting Vasquez with the header. Cleared to Adrian Billhart. And now one back upfield. This is Emmanuel Gomez. Ultimately stymied by Griffin Garnett, the 17-year-old center back. Billhart. For Richmond, it has been a season of ups and downs. A team that, as you saw in the open, occupying the 8th and final USL League One playoff spot as things stand. When you talk to Darren Sawatsky, he expresses continued frustration over finishing that comes and goes, to put it nicely. A team that, without Emiliano Terzaghi for the first 2.5 months of the season, has struggled to find a proper number 9. And it has been reflected in many of the results in which they've enjoyed good spells of possession and quality chances, but have failed to turn that into many goals. Last week it was a similar story, a 1-0 defeat against Charlotte in which they outshot Independence 16-4. And yet still could not claw an equalizer after falling behind on the stroke of halftime. Darren Sawatsky said he's sick of the same movie, the popcorn is getting stale. Poetic way to put it, to say the least. Mariona, the Academy product for Central Valley. It's cleared only as far as Emmanuel Gomez. Long-range effort from Coronado, and it stings the palms of Jara. First test passed with flying colors from the 30-year-old between the sticks. We mentioned Rob Coronado off the top. He gets in a pocket of space here and lashes at it. This is a laser-like effort. It drew a full extension stop from Jara, but ultimately no real threat to find the back of the net. Jara read it perfectly. Former Tormenta man who's got a league title in his trophy case back in 2022. A rapid start from Fuego early on, though. Vasquez. Too many step-overs even for his own liking. Coronado. Just over 10 minutes gone here from Fresno, California. A late night kickoff to cap off a monumental day in USL League One. The day began with Naples FC being announced as the newest expansion club. The branding was announced in Naples today. Some well-known owners as well revealed to the world. And then at 3 Eastern, the league took center stage on ESPN2, a scoreless draw between Forward Madison and South Georgia Tormenta. We cap it off with a 7:30 Pacific time kick between a pair of teams hoping to make their statements felt in the playoff hunt. Moran thinking expertly with James Vaughn. Cross coming towards the back post. Sits at the feet of Simon Fitch, who wins his sided throw. The early stages of this match largely bossed by Central Valley. Jermaine Jones has been proud of the effort going forward. They've had their moments in possession this season, and while goals have not necessarily flowed consistently, they've had some bright moments. Here's Bill Hart crossing this in, and it's a heavy touch ultimately off the feet of O'Dwyer. But for a team that entered tonight with just 8 league goals, they perform much better than the numbers indicate in possession and chance creation. As you get your look at Carlos Aviles between the sticks for Central Valley. Former Chattanooga man who was instrumental in their run to the 2022 USL League One final. This was not the goalkeeping matchup, though, in the final. Pablo Jara was a reserve by that point for Tormenta. Aviles, though, was a key piece in the run to the final for Chattanooga a couple years back. Coronado. Comes wide to Mariona. Looking for Mendiola on the underlap. There's the first touch for the former Galaxy man. And the cross evading the head of Dembor Benson. There's Pablo Jara. He's had one big save to make so far. A long-range effort that ultimately hit the heart of his palms. It's been the busier of the two keepers tonight. Bill Hart looking to change that. And here is Simon Fitch. This is Vasquez, and runs out of real estate on the near side. Heckenberg and Benson unable to thread it through to the runner, and Richmond looking to counter. They don't quite have numbers with Oates-Wire and Bill Hart. Now some support from Fitch. He's got one man in the box, goes towards the back stick. Narrowly avoiding the reach of Moran. Schenfeld's cross. It's cleared only as far as Guy Franca. And now Vinyals. Man who's been at the center of everything build-up-wise for Richmond the last 3 years. Former product of Barcelona's ranks. Mendiola, former teammate of Jermaine Jones's back in both players' LA Galaxy days. Jermaine Jones says his relationship helps him coach Mendiola. It's an opportunity as well for a man who was 3 years without a professional contract prior to joining Fuego this offseason. Jermaine Jones said to him, "Can't promise you match time, but you show up to training every day and you put in the work, you can establish yourself in the 11, and that's exactly what Raul Mendiola's done." A bit more comfort in the communications between the first-year headman Jones and the man who oftentimes wears the captain's armband. That, of course, not the case tonight with Aviles donning it. Bill Hart. And a heavy touch from Vasquez cedes possession. Heckenberg moves out to Fitch, who's marauded down the right flank all night. Now Gomez. Now seems to be a slight disconnect between the midfield and front line for Central Valley. Vasquez and Benson trying to get on the same wavelength as their number 8s. It is the first time Jermaine Jones has thrown a 4-4-2 on the pitch. And he says he's still constantly rotating it, trying to find the right combination of players. A team that has played everywhere from a 5-3-2 to a 4-2-3-1 to almost everything in between. Mariona committing the transgression. We're 20 minutes gone from Fresno State Soccer Stadium. Sam Goldfarb here thanking you for joining us on League One After Dark, although it is not dark out here in Fresno, California. One major chance in this one so far. Dembor Benson early on stinging the palms of Pablo Jara. But no score to show for it between Central Valley and Richmond, a pair of teams that would hope to discover an uptick in goal-scoring form over these coming months. Still plenty of time to rectify their respective positions in the league table. Vinyals slithering forward and has options ahead. Drives it wide for Fitch, an involved man early, and an excellent response from Emmanuel Gomez to prevent that from finding the target. He'll cede the match's first corner, though, for Richmond, but it was a necessary intervention from the 24-year-old fullback. Well, for a moment, this looked like a glaring chance. Neil Vinyals pulling the defense out of position. But how about that? Excellent recovery speed from Emmanuel Gomez. And he takes the sting out of that shot at the source. It will prompt Max Schenfeld to head to the corner flag. And stabbed away for a Richmond throw. We're at the midway point of this first half. No score between Central Valley and Richmond kickers. A rematch of a 5-goal thriller we were spoiled by on April 6th at City Stadium. The hero of that thriller, Chandler O'Dwyer, starts up front tonight for Richmond.
That's all I got.
Here's Vaughn's cross. It heads to the back post. Comes out to Fitch. And it appeared Aviles's vision was impaired and stabbed out of play for another corner. This is a lovely switch of the play from James Vaughn, and ultimately falls quite kindly to Simon Fitch. Required deflection by Dembor Benson to prevent that from testing Aviles, who seemed late to react. But another intriguing set piece for Maxi Schenfeld and company. Another in-swinger, this time back post, headed down and in. Guy Franca opening the scoring for Richmond. And the Kickers off to a flyer in Fresno. Well, what a ball this is from Schenfeld, and at the back post, an authoritative header from what appears to be Guy Franca. In his first professional season, just outwits everyone and bashes it into the back of the net. Well, what a moment that is for Richmond, and what a moment for the 24-year-old Brazilian Guy Franca. In just his third league start, opening the scoring. Well, Guy Franca, just 24 years of age, a product of Dalton State in the NAIA ranks. He was a two-time first-team All-American in the NAIA ranks with the Dalton State Roadrunners, and has been known for his solidity at center back. Drew a lot of rave reviews from Darren Sawatsky early in the season, but battled an injury that cost him the first 5 matches in all competitions. Coach Sawatsky said from the early stages of preseason he was optimistic he would start, and that he has. And now rewards them with his first professional goal on a well-executed set piece. 1-0 Kickers after 25. And if you are a Richmond fan, that is just what the doctor ordered. A team that had so many opportunities last week against Charlotte in the Jägermeister Cup. They've rectified the wrongs of the events that transpired at City Stadium a week ago. Somewhat against the grain, an early lead. For Fuego. That certainly throws a wrench in things. They open this match so assertively, but they've gradually faded as the first half has progressed. We'll see if that is a wake-up call for a team desperate for points in the league. Mariona taking the contact from Schenfeld in the first proper set piece. Appears to position Central Valley quite kindly. It's Coronado and the 19-year-old Javier Mariona in the immediate vicinity for this set piece. Central Valley chasing a swift reply. It is Coronado to deliver. Was looking towards Yaya in the heart of the area. Came free momentarily to Vasquez. Well executed set piece defending by the visitors. Played back here to Aviles, who really had no chance on his first real test. He's trying to cover up the smoke screen at the near post, and ball played perfectly to the head of Franca, who just rose like a salmon and beat everyone to it. An unlikely hero early on for Richmond. Benson. Third only as far as Gomez. It's an enticing ball to the back stick. And at the feet of Coronado. Has been a metronome early on for Central Valley, at the center of everything. And Vasquez bundled over just outside the area. And this is a far more appetizing position for a free kick. We are approaching the half-hour thresholds. A 1-0 scoreline courtesy of Guy Franca's 24th minute opener. But a Central Valley team with revenge at the forefront of their minds tonight. Looking to make up ground before intermission. There are 4 red shirts in the immediate vicinity here. Javier Mariona is the man standing over it. Meanwhile, Emmanuel Gomez and Rob Coronado all negotiating the terms here. Coronado has a hit, and he overcooks it just slightly. Fans, ESPN2 is the channel to watch on Saturday, June 22nd for a USL Championship doubleheader. Monterey Bay FC versus Oakland Roots SC in Game 1 at 6 p.m. Eastern, followed by Phoenix Rising FC taking on the Charleston Battery at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. A busy summer of soccer across the ESPN family of networks. Of course, we had League One on ESPN2 earlier today. A scoreless draw between Forward Madison and South Georgia Tormenta. That was not exactly what would have been drawn up by the neutrals, especially for a Madison team streaking with 6 wins in a row. That's the nature of League One, the unpredictability across the board. Vasquez. Slithering down the left flank. And wins Central Valley its first corner of the night. Coronado strolling over to it. It's been a strong response since conceding the opener by the hosts. Corner presented by RWM Home Loans. It's an arcing out swinger that ultimately curled out of play. A night that at one point seemed to have the inklings of an onslaught for Pablo Jara has ultimately been pretty routine since the 15th minute. Tembor Benson had the best chance of the match for Central Valley early on, and well, none have followed since for the hosts. For an attack that ranks just 10th of 12 teams in League One with 8 goals in league play. That's not what the doctor ordered. Coronado wins this backup field though. Mariona managing to keep the attack afloat only briefly. Clayton Tor will lose out to Vinyals. Adrian Billhart drawing the offside flag. Here's a look at tonight's injury report presented by Golden Bear Physical Therapy. 3 men out for Central Valley. The name that stands out, Siobhan John Brown, out with a thigh injury. He was a mainstay at left back to open the year for Fuego, then went on international duty with Grenada last week, now missing his 2nd consecutive match. But if you're a Fuego fan, a couple of Academy names returning. That injury report was 5-6 names long a couple weeks ago. Heckenberg linking well with Mendiola. Mariona now. Coronado strolling towards the edge of the area. Gomez dinking it towards Mariona. No way through just yet for Fuego. Mariona looking to change that, and ultimately got the studs into the legs of Guy Franca, the goal scorer. Perhaps fortunate that this didn't yield more than a foul call. You get your look at the head official, Rafael Bonilla. He's assisted by Bruno Rizzo and Salvador Reyes, his 4th official, Pedro Luna Vasquez. That is your match officials tonight in Fresno, California, for the first home match in nearly a month for Central Valley Fuego in all competitions. And unfortunately has not started the smoothest for Jermaine Jones's squad. Simon Fitch hoping to compound the misery. Barnathan. Now Vinyals, unable to thread the needle to Billhart. They look long for Benson once again. So far he has not quite been on the same wavelength as his counterparts, as to be expected for a debut with his new club. But what a finisher he is, and you mentioned the attacking struggles. Jermaine Jones says he's looking for a proven number 9. Seems to have a lot of confidence in the new addition, who ultimately proved it to them firsthand a couple months ago in the Cup. Into the business end of proceedings here in the opening 45. It is Guy Franca's 24th minute header which separates these two squads. 19-year-old Mariona stands over this free kick. It's an arcing ball towards the near post. Cleared only as far as Gomez. Vasquez. And a clean challenge, according to Rafael Bonilla, by Maxi Schenfeld. Select, the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship and many elite leagues throughout Europe. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. We near the 40th minute threshold. It is still 1-0 Richmond as they look to do the double over Central Valley Fuego, a team winless in its last 6 league matches. This is Javier Mariona, a danger man early. Ultimately clattering it off the shins of Schenfeld, and it comes to nothing. This is Zahir Vasquez, one of the regulars in the 11, if you can call it that. It's been a squad Jermaine Jones has rotated heavily over the course of his first season. His ultimate philosophy is age is just a number ultimately in terms of playing time. It's about the effort you give in training, and it is about your ability to execute his tactics. He feels players who work hard and buy into his system, regardless of age, will be the ones that succeed. Set piece here for Raul Mendiola and Fuego, as we approach the closing stages of this first half, with the sun beginning to set in Fresno. In swinger towards the back post. It was an appetizing delivery, but one that avoided the head of Mariona narrowly. Comes loose to Vasquez, who ran out of real estate on the far side. Well, if you're both goalkeepers tonight, be pretty pleased with how things have unfolded. A quiet night at the office for both lads in the goalkeeping kits. Much more routine night for Pablo Jara outside of the first 10 minutes. Schenfeld giving chase, and will win his side to throw. Vinyals, one of the top chance creators in League One perennially over the last couple seasons. And they missed him last week. He was suspended due to being sent off at the tail end of the Knoxville match on June 1st. Back tonight and really hasn't missed a beat. Vaughn. And here is Simon Fitch. Is there one final twist to the tail before intermission? Jermaine Jones hopes so, and hopes it comes on a Fuego counterattack. Bill Hart, excellent interplay with Vinyals. Pick out Neil Vinyals, running towards the byline, and wins his side yet another corner. From the identical side of the pitch where the opener transpired. Maxi Schenfeld, who supplied Guy Franca's goal 20 minutes ago, now searching for an encore before the break. A 31-year-old Chilean who has joined the club and fit right into the 11 like a glove. High in swinger this time, a little too much altitude to it. and a much easier ball to defend in the end for Central Valley. Issues clearing now for Moran. Mendiola has support ahead. He's hunting Mariona. Progression in the final third tonight. It's just been off kilter in the first half of this match. Final minute of the initial 45 here from Fresno Soccer Stadium. As things stand, Guy Franca the difference maker on a set piece in the 24th. And with the way that first half unfolded, you'd figure added time would not necessarily be too hefty. Hearing word it'll be 2 minutes of added time here from Fresno State Soccer Stadium. And now they've tacked on an additional minute, so 3 minutes of added time separate us from intermission. As things stand, Darren Sawatsky will be the happier of the two coaches.
3 minutes stoppage time.
For Fuego, you figure Jermaine Jones will have a number of talking points at intermission. Such a promising start that gradually faded and then dissipated after the Guy Franca opener. They had a moment of promise since the goal with some quick breaks into the final third, but that final ball around the penalty area has been what's eluded them, and it has resulted in a quiet night for Pablo Jara to this point. This is Simon Fitch, once again strolling forward for Richmond. Moran trying from afar, and this one will not test Aviles to any degree. For Richmond, this type of match plays into their hands. A defense that usually is quite stubborn. They've made it cagey since the opener. Final minute of the added 3.
He doesn't want to move it.
Perhaps time for 1 or 2 last-ditch efforts before the break for Fuego. Vignal's winning this back.
My NB's not working. When I press F3, it doesn't work. When I press F3, it doesn't work. Wait. It's unclear right now. Well, last time I pushed it, it was unclear.
Heckenberg bundled over, wins one last free kick for Fuego as we're beyond the 3 minutes. A half which treated us to early action has drawn to a quiet close. After 45 minutes, Richmond kickers a 1-0 advantage courtesy of Guy Franca in the 24th minute. A towering header at the back post on a corner. That's what separates these two sides looking to jockey ahead in the League One table. After 45 minutes, a 1-0 advantage courtesy of this lovely header from Guy Franca. And Richmond kickers with the halftime separation. We'll step aside here at halftime. 1-0 kickers after 45 minutes.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
Back here from Fresno, California, 1-0 advantage for Richmond kickers after 45 minutes of action here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. It was a busy week of action in match week 10 of USL League One, and let's jump into some of the standout moments, starting with forward Madison against Lexington. This was an onslaught. 3 goals in the opening 20 minutes. It began with Christian Cheney's tap-in the third, and it went from bad to worse for the visitors. Cheney opening the scoring, and then shortly after that, Aiden Macias tacking on further damage, the number 10. And then within the 20th minute, Christian Cheney tacked on a brace. One of the best goal scorers in USL League One. Pretty much ensured the points were wrapped up midway through the first half. And they took a 3-0 lead into intermission. For Lexington, they got just hit by an onslaught. Darren Powell's bunch didn't have much of a response. Khalid Balagoon had a nice consolation goal in the 56th from the spot, but ultimately, shortly after that, Madison wrapping up the points. In stoppage time, this cutback for John Murphy, taps it, corner pocket, securing all 3 for forward Madison. That was their 4th win in a row in all competitions. That 6-match win streak came to a close today in the scoreless draw. Now moving to Charlotte at American Legion Stadium. We pick things up in the first half. Juan Carlos Obregon, how about this? Flicks it to himself, heads it home, gives Charlotte the early advantage. After 23 minutes, Independence, a perennial power in League One, in front. But then 11 minutes from full time, Mason Tunbridge ensuring the points were split in the 79th with this lovely bit of individual brilliance and driving it into the bottom left corner. 1-1 full time between Charlotte and Tormenta, then picking things up in Knoxville where Richmond secured a huge victory in the league. In the 8th minute, Chandler O'Dwyer, what a header. Richmond in corners, we saw that tonight. And then this cutback to secure a 2-0 advantage inside 20 minutes. A Sean Lewis own goal that really came via the boot of Adrian Billhart. A harsh own goal, if you ask me. It gave Richmond a 2-0 lead. There was a solid response from Knoxville in the second half. Kempis Tequila pulling them within a goal in the 57th. But they ultimately were empty-handed at home. Speaking of empty-handed at home, Omaha. They rarely lose at home. Well, here in this one, they did. Pedro Dolabella opened the scoring on the stroke of halftime, and it looked good at Werner Park, but then an onslaught in the second half. It began with Billy King's equalizer in the 54th, and then 8 minutes later, Bruno Rendon wrapping up all 3 points in a very surprising road result for a Northern Colorado team that has struggled for goals with the departure of Trevor Ammon this offseason. That wrapped up Saturday's games. Moving into Sunday, speaking of surprises, how about Chattanooga? Mayo Malongo, who is player of the week for Week 10, opening the scoring in the 14th minute. And from there, Chattanooga cooked. There was an equalizer for Greenville, but then in the second half, 2 goals from Siobhan Marsh in the span of 3 minutes, pulling them in front and doubling their advantage in quick succession. A 3-1 road victory for a struggling Chattanooga side. Malongo and Marsh, the dynamic duo of late, coming up with all of the damage for the visitors. And then polishing things off on Wednesday, a 5-goal masterstroke from Omaha. They won 5-2 against Chattanooga Red Wolves. It began with Pedro Dolabella's opener in the 15th minute. There was some fight back at CHI Memorial Stadium. Declan Waters leveling it in the 18th. But from there, 2 goals before halftime from Union Omaha. Blake Malone on the corner, rising like a salmon, locates that perfectly in the bottom right corner. 3 minutes later, Joe Gallardo from a set piece that touches nobody, finds its way into the bottom right. Siobhan Marsh did pull Chattanooga within a goal in the 89th, and it seemed like game was on here, but then 2 stoppage time strikes from Omaha put this one well and truly out of reach. Lagos Kunga, he's been on a tear recently, pretty much putting it to bed, and then Adam Aumish adding the final polishes in a 7-goal thrilling victory for Omaha to bounce back. Those are your match week 10 highlights. It was a busy week with a ton of goals. We'll be hoping we get more goals here in the second half. It's 1-0 Richmond after 45. We'll be back on the halftime show after this on ESPN+.
Is it somebody's birthday? Dad, come watch us hit this ugly piñata. Dad!
When Hornets show up, so do we. Terminix it.
They're hungry for the women's game. They want to see women's soccer. They want to play women's soccer, and that's what we're building at the USL.
You can see it in my eyes, only want the best. Everybody, every night, I won't settle for less. Got me looking to the sky, got me feeling blessed. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest. Burning up inside of my chest. Got this fire burning up inside of my chest.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Right in front, it's tapped home. Keziah Sterling. Off the giveaway, Harris, and Blue City leads 3-1.
When mosquitoes show up, so do we. Terminix it.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
We are back in California's beautiful Central Valley, where the homestanding Fuego, trailing 1-0 after 45 minutes, courtesy of Guy Franca's opener in the 24th. It's been a busy stretch across USL, and we jump into some of the news and notes around the league. How about USL on Univision? Their first partnership, 20 matches, including the final, will be on their family of networks. And we alluded to this earlier, FC Naples unveiling their crest today in a action-packed day of USL League One. And finally, Tyrod Taylor investing in Westchester SC's ownership, part of an onslaught of clubs joining the competition in 2025. We mentioned a busy week. It was not a busy Saturday in terms of matches. Just one game, and there was no score between Forward Madison and South Georgia Tormenta in our ESPN 2 game today. One shot on target came in the 94th minute. It was not a barn burner, but it was an enthralling 0-0 draw. There's much more games that await in USL League One. Coming up over the course of this coming week, a lot of matches for you to check out. Union Omaha going to Madison on Golazo. That's part of a slew of USL League One games on Golazo Network. Meanwhile, for Richmond, they return home, host Northern Colorado. The other Golazo game, Spokane Velocity, a new club facing off against Greenville Triumph in what should be a fun one on June 23rd. Well, it's a 1-0 lead here for Richmond Kickers, looking to climb up the playoff places in USL League One. They've got 45 more minutes to see it out. We'll step aside when we come back the second half from Central Valley.
Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
We welcome you back to Fresno, California, where at halftime it is a 1-0 Richmond Kickers lead at Central Valley, a team desperate for points in the USL League One table. Let's take a look at some of the standout moments from that first half. A first half that offered plenty of early promise for Fuego, but ultimately ended in a 1-0 scoreline in favor of Richmond. This was one of the better chances for Denbor Benson, the new signing. Came just 3 minutes in, and then later on had another big opportunity before he kind of faded by the wayside. Rob Coronado with Central Valley's best chance stinging the palms of Pablo Jara, who made a nice quick reflex save. And then from there, Raul Mendiola linking up well on the far side. It was an enticing delivery, but one that had a date with Jara's gloves. Then we go to the 24th minute. This is the goal. Guy Franca at the back post just beats everyone to the header and perfectly placed for his first professional goal. That is what separates the two sides here at halftime in Fresno. And taking a look at the first half stats, well, it tells a lot of the story here. Early on, Fuego, a lot of chances. You saw the 2 chances that found the target. Those both came in the first 15 minutes. But then from there, Richmond began to take over the run of play and ultimately worked their way back onto a level playing field, of course scoring the opener to give themselves the lead. Possession dead even. It's been played largely between the 18s. We've lacked invention in this match once teams venture towards the penalty box. So that's your look at the first half stats as we are just about set to get the second half back underway. 1-0 is the scoreline that matters. Richmond in the driver's seat, looking to see out their second consecutive league victory and send Fuego further into their tailspin. Still 45 minutes, though, for Fuego to right the ship and secure a much-needed result at home. Richmond now going right to left on your screen. Central Valley in the red kits going from left to right. You've got to wonder what the subject of Jermaine Jones's team talk was at intermission. Hearing word it is 2 changes for Central Valley Fuego. Alfredo Midense is replacing Zaire Vasquez on the front line. That is a like-for-like swap for someone who has played up front the last couple games in Midense. Meanwhile, Raul Mendiola, one of the more elder statesmen on the Central Valley squad, he vacates after a promising first half. His replacement, not shabby, a former All-USL League One selection in 2022 in Jose Carrera Garcia. 2 changes at the break as Jermaine Jones looks for invention in the final third. And back underway, ball rolling once again here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. For Central Valley, no doubt, execution in the penalty box going forward would have been a primary topic of emphasis for Jermaine Jones. And perhaps a change of system, because on first glance, it looks like a back 3 may be in the offing. Heavy challenge as Maxi Schenfeld is dealing with the brunt of it. Getting a glimpse at the substitutes. We mentioned Jose Carrera Garcia, so dynamic as part of that Chattanooga team that made the run to the USL League One final 2 seasons ago. Last year, a bit more of a regression, but someone who is still in his prime at 28 years of age and a native of Ontario, California. So a homecoming of sorts. Well, a very different story. Alfredo Midense, just 21 years of age, getting a second chance at things after a brief stint with the DC United Academy, and had a goal and an assist in his pro debut on May 11th against Lexington. In many respects, a rookie and a vet. Here's Schenfeld into the area, and he runs into the brick wall that is Deshaun Nemhart. So shortly after the restart here in Fresno. For those just joining us, welcome to League One After Dark. It is officially now after dark in California. The goal in the 24th minute, scored by Guy Franca after a promising start to proceedings for Central Valley. The scoreline of 1-0, Richmond, is all that matters, as Jermaine Jones has made a pair of halftime alterations to rectify things. This is Tor looking ahead to Denbor Benson, who enjoyed a lively opening quarter of an hour and then saw his influence wane. Schenfeld driving this ahead. It's a promising ball that finds Billhart. The talisman in many respects for Richmond. And he would have been hoping for a better hit there from James Vaughn.
Fans staff today with Fuego FC by visiting our official website at FuegoFC.com. Download the 2024 schedule. Get all matchday information. All things Fuego FC. FuegoFC.com.
Well, for Central Valley, we mentioned it off the top. 6 matches winless in league play since opening the Jermaine Jones era with a 2-1 victory at Tormenta on March 9th. Since then, it has been a struggle to get results, but Jermaine Jones on the phone said they've been competitive in almost every one of those matches and feels there is a lot of promise in his side. And when you factor in, they've brought in about 4 or 5 players since the season started, still trying to figure out who fits in best at what position. And Jermaine Jones feels this is a project that will take more than just a season. And someone himself who is also learning in his first year as a head coach, of course, well known for his near 2.5-decade professional career that saw him play at the highest levels of German football and also in the MLS. Best known, of course, for his stunner against Portugal in the 2014 World Cup. A U.S. men's national team legend who says he's now learning how to transfer his teachings to a league like League One, where players are still developing. What a ball here from Benson, and it comes through to Medense, who levels it up. Sensational interplay between a pair of new signings, and Alfredo Medense pulls Central Valley on a level playing field. Terrifically weighted pass from Benson in his first match with the club, and a simple round of the keeper from the substitute from the 21-year-old Medense, who has given Fuego a deserved equalizer. Central Valley 1, Richmond 1. Well, Medense, we mentioned a man who joined on his first pro contract on March 15th after a stint in the DC United Academy. A native of Honduras who has now scored his first goal in league play for Central Valley Fuego. Beginning to stamp his imprint on the Central Valley 11 after missing the opening 9 matches. And what a slick move that was from Fuego to level the scoreline.
At the 50-minute mark by number 20, Alfredo Liggins. Score is tied 1-1.
So 1-1 after 51 minutes. And Medense pretty much with his first touch of the ball since coming on the pitch, with a very composed finish. We'll see how that changes things. Richmond had lulled the match to sleep in many respects before the break. Central Valley has reignited the match since the restart. Speaking of learning on the fly, Jermaine Jones made a perfectly timed substitution and rewarded for it on the score sheet. And match on here in Fresno. If you're just joining us, an equalizer from Alfredo Medense in the 51st minute has pulled Central Valley level shortly after the restart. The substitute, with his first touch of the ball, tying the match. And considering the way they opened the game, you would have figured a goal was deserved. Denbor Benson orchestrating it with the perfectly weighted ball. This is Schenfeld hoping for a swift response. O'Dwyer. Now falls to the feet of Neil Vinyals. Some space for Schenfeld to cross this in. And a corner will result.
Corner kick. Awarded to the Richmond Kickers.
Richmond's taken just 3 corners tonight, the second of which resulted in their opener. And for the first time, we see Neil Vinyals with a chance to provide service. Here is his in-swinger. Charged away at the near post. Some target practice for Vinyals. This is well delivered. Falls for Billhart. It's still loose in the area. And cleared only as far as Simon Fitch. Schenfeld. Good looking cross. Ultimately too much float off of Griffin Garnett's dome. Aviles weathering that storm with considerable aplomb. Now in his 6th start. Both himself and Andre Zuluaga, 2 players Jermaine Jones has confidence in despite rockier starts to their respective campaigns. Says he, like Richmond, is going with the hot hand approach. There's another flashing cross. This narrowly is beyond the outstretched head of Vinyals. There is Vinyals' cross. Bounces kindly at the far post. And not contacted quite well enough by Adrian Billhart. Richmond forced to settle for another corner. This to the near post and ultimately ricocheting off the Central Valley defender. Fuego under fire since the equalizer. And well, that target practice will continue, it seems. Seating set pieces is the bane of every coach's existence. This is corner 4 of the second half for Richmond. Schenfeld to deliver towards the head of O'Dwyer, and Aviles does just enough to palm it out of trouble. Densey running out of real estate, the most recent goal scorer. What an introduction he's been into this match. Vinyals. Now Billhart has support in the form of Schenfeld and opts to use him. Good looking delivery. Cleared only as far as the German Billhart. This is Guy Franca, the man who opened the scoring in the first half. Schenfeld. Not enough steam on the one-time ball from Vinyals. Cleared only as far as the 17-year-old Griffin Garnett, who has played well beyond his years since being introduced to the Richmond starting lineup a few months back. Mariona. Heckenberg. This is Midense. Well-weighted ball wide. Cut back towards Midense. Coronado, deflected cross, and a corner on the way.
Fuego, corner kick.
Carrera Garcia will
Jose Carrera Garcia.
whip in this in-swinger. His first proper involvement since entering the fray in the 40 at halftime. Can Fuego flip it on its head? Here is Carrera Garcia's in-swinger. This towards the heart of the area and claimed authoritatively by Jara. Coming up on Wednesday, June 19th, Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC clash with Eastern Conference leader Louisville City FC at 7 p.m. Eastern on the CBS Sports Network. Part of the many ways in which this league and the championship are gaining national coverage. Carrera Garcia. Now to the goal scorer, Midense. Driven low. Comes to the feet of Neil Vinyals. Now at the hour mark. Still all to play for in Fresno. Figure with the history of these two teams, there may be a goal or two in it. Pitch is dragged down just outside the area, and Rafael Bonilla unmoved. Fixture between these two teams, 2-2-3 all time. Fuego got off to a flying start in their inaugural season against Richmond. They took 5 points from 3 matches. Richmond winning the last meeting in a 3-2 thriller to level the all-time series. In many ways, clubs with differing degrees of history. Fuego just in its 3rd season of USL League One action. Richmond Kickers are the joint longest. Continually running professional soccer club in the United States. Their inaugural campaign back in 1993 with so much history in their trophy case. Carrera Garcia is clipped at the ankles by James Vaughn, who is the first man to enter the book tonight. Carrera Garcia slow to get up for Fuego. Take another look at this yellow card on James Vaughn. You see him slide into the 50-50. It's an aggressive challenge. And referee immediately into his pocket to pull out the yellow. It's a nasty one. I think what saves him from worse than a yellow is the fact that the boot he dove with wasn't what made contact on Carrera Garcia's ankle. Midense charges it into the wall. Now Coronado. Carrera Garcia. It's laid off. Midense trying to unlock the back line, and Coronado nearly did so.
So close. So close.
An effort that dribbled just beyond that far post. Coronado from a tight window, nearly making something out of nothing. And it looked like he had Jara beaten. Very unfortunate break for the hosts. No doubt, Jara's heart would have been in his stomach for a matter of milliseconds. This is Schenfeld. Looking ahead for O'Dwyer. Comes loose to Carrera Garcia. He was slowly growing into this match. This is Midense. And Benson in space. Another enticing ball, this time to Gomez. Looking for the return, and a much needed intervention from Guy Franca because Benson was through. A first half where his influence waxed and waned. Here in the second, he's been a constant menace for Richmond. Mariona through two defenders. Referee says play on. Midense. Carrera Garcia. And Robert Coronado. A little too much steam behind that long ranger. Much busier second half for both goalkeepers. That man especially. Nothing Jara could have really done on the equalizer. It was so well placed in the one-on-one from Midense. Since then, called in action multiple times. Aviles has also had his fair share of set-piece duties to attend to. Slowly has opened up here in Fresno. This is Coronado. And Bill Hart wins the set piece. Two changes coming for Richmond, and El Rey returning to the pitch. Emiliano Terzaghi, the three-time USL League One MVP, in a like-for-like swap, replacing Chandler O'Dwyer, as Richmond hunts a winner in the second half. In addition, a youngster approaching in Tony Pineda, who has drawn rave reviews from Darren Sawatsky and the coaching staff. And this is an intriguing change. Pineda replacing Griffin Garnett as center back. So a sign that perhaps Richmond moving to three at the back. Well, great to see Terzaghi back out there. Suffered a season-ending injury last year that cost him the first 2.5 months of this season as well. Was a return in the final 6 minutes of the Charlotte match last week. It was his first action since September of 2023. Here's Vinyals and picks out Pineda, who wins his side a corner right off the bat. Well, look out for 32 in white. He's the league's all-time leading goal scorer, has accomplished virtually everything there is to accomplish in this league. Now getting extended run as they work him back from injury. Vinyals to deliver. Near post. Flicked along towards the back stick. And another set piece results. Schenfeld stands over this. Just under 20 minutes and stoppage time remain. Driven towards Terzaghi. Terzaghi, 55 goals in a Richmond Kickers kit in league play. Someone who began his career in his native Argentina, but was struggling to break into the consistent 11 there. Made the move to Richmond ahead of 2020, and perhaps is the crown jewel of player development, both in this league and Richmond altogether. Darren Sawatsky prides himself on building a franchise that not only helps create young talents, but also helps more experienced players both rediscover their love of the game and rediscover top form on the pitch. Terzaghi is perhaps the biggest example of that. Someone who was burned out before he came to Richmond and immediately caught fire with a double-digit scoring campaign in 2020. Since then, the rest has been history. A star. Great to see him back out there. On the other side of things, we mentioned Tony Pineda. He's number 15 in white, a product of High Point University. And when talking to Darren Sawatsky, he was quick to praise the head coach of High Point University, Zach Haynes. Says he always gives him an honest assessment on his players. Of course, there's a history between High Point and Richmond with Johnny Bolaños coming through Richmond and impressing for multiple years. So many coaches, especially in college, are convinced all their players will go to MLS. Zach Haynes will always give an honest assessment while still supporting his players. And Tony Pineda, the latest in a long line of High Point players to pursue a professional career in USL League One, multiple of whom have come through Richmond. Just under 20 minutes of the 90 remain, and all up for grabs. Guy Franca opened it in the 24th. The substitute, Alfredo Midense, leveled it in the 51st. And all to play for in what is shaping up to be a very fun one here in Fresno. This is Mariola continuing to grow into the match, and his trickery winning Fuego another corner. Alfredo Midense will be the man to deliver. Corner sponsored by RWM Home Loans. Still waiting for the referee signal. And a crowd of bodies right inside the 6-yard box as well. Midense's in swinger. And already some hand fighting in the box, which negates the chance before it emerges. Still a 4 at the back for Richmond despite the change with Pineda on. Schenfeld has been parked deeper since the former High Point Panthers introduction. Vaughn is hunting the run of Terzaghi, not quite on the same wavelength as his star striker. Can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access Tuesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on Sirius XM 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Rapidly approaching the final quarter of an hour here from Fresno, all knotted at 1 apiece. After Alfredo Bidense's equalizer in the 51st. Both teams are going for it with their substitutions. Coronado through for Carrera Garcia. Comes loose to Gomez. Back post cross for Benson. He's looking to flick it down for a teammate. And ultimately sailing out of play for a Fuego throw. Well, scratch that. Jermaine Jones has hand-delivered the ball to his opposition. No dispute over who throws this one in.
Like when you go to 45, it's like orange. To the right.
Avila's way off his line here, and it falls to Terzaghi. The net unattended, and well, still looking to shake off the ring rust, clearly. Officially at the business end of proceedings in the 90 minutes. Still much to play for, as Fuego looks for its first win in league play since March 9th. Carrera Garcia. And Coronado taking a tumble after the challenge from James Vaughn, who notably already on a yellow card. This is Terzaghi. He's looking for Pineda. And a heavy challenge into the back of Mariona's leg. A nasty studs up, which draws the yellow card without much hesitation. Maxi Schenfeld, a man who has battled yellow card issues all year in the book once again. Certainly unintentional challenge, but it's a painful one no less. Goes right into the back of Mariona and studs right to the calf. That'll leave a mark tomorrow. No hesitation from Rafael Bonilla reaching into his pocket. Changes on both sides. Asha Paulin on one side for Fuego. Nathan Awney, another man who returning from a prolonged absence, continuing to get more time as his fitness improves.
Substitution for the Richmond.
Awney replacing Schenfeld. Listed center back replacing a forward, so that should free up Pineda to charge ahead. Meanwhile, Asha Paulin will replace Robert Coronado in what is anything but a like-for-like swap. Paulin more of a fullback, replacing the center mid. Well, Paulin joins Fuego in his immaculate maturity, 33 years of age, previously with Hartford Athletic for the better part of 3 seasons. Now making his 8th league appearance. Someone already with a pair of assists to his name, not shy about marauding forward. On the other side of things, Nathan Awney, we mentioned it, recovering from an early season injury that cost him the first 2 months. Was a regular starter for the 2 years prior to that at center back, though, and at 27 years of age is a stalwart at center back when healthy. good to see him continuing to return, making his second league appearance. Long ball to Benson. Popped over to Apollon. Gomez. Back for Ash Apollon, who's involved off the jump. Javier Mariona, the danger man all night. Jukes one defender towards the back stick. Falls for Gomez. Still loose and unable to test Jara in the end. It will set up a corner, but what a chance this was. Created by the feet of Mariona. Gomez trying to drill it along into the path of Benson. Excellent intervention at the end of the day for Simon Fitch. And Jose Carrera Garcia stands over this set piece. Approaching the final 10 minutes of the 90. Good looking in swinger. It's cleared only as far as Javier Mariona. Carrera Garcia towards the back stick in the path of Yaya. Terzaghi alleviating the danger, and the first Central Valley man in the book for that challenge. It appears to be Chris Heckenberg, the center midfielder. And that it is. Chris Heckenberg, the 25-year-old center mid, drawing Rafael Bonilla's-Ayer with that challenge. Relatively clean match, just 3 men booked tonight. That was the first Fuego man to have his name written on the back of the yellow. And here is Heckenberg. Apollon. Good looking cross. It nearly fell kindly for Mariona. Will either team find the magical late winner? It was O'Dwyer who provided the heroics last time these two teams met. He is not a factor in the equation at this current moment. Substituted off for Terzaghi. Another corner for Fuego. It is Alfredo Midense once again. Corner kick sponsored by RWM Home Loans. Midense curls this one towards the back stick. Took a touch off Apollon's head. And ricocheted off of a Richmond defender.
Number 10 taking the corner this time.
Carrera Garcia slowly getting target practice on this far side.
Coming on the pitch, number 27, number 16.
One change for Central Valley. Qudis Lawal is entering the action, a proper number 9, who dons number 27.
Back to the corner kick.
And Carrera Garcia gets the referee's signal. Another good-looking in-swinger. Lonnie got ahead to it. And Bill Hart ushering out of danger. So an attack-minded swap. Lawal replacing Gomez, providing presumably more attacking punch on the flanks. Lawal, a 28-year-old out of Lagos, Nigeria, enjoying his return to the American professional ranks after spending a good chunk of last season in indoor soccer with the Milwaukee Wave. Someone who has plenty of experience in the USL Pyramid, his 6th season in either the Championship or League One. Billhart. Excellent ball towards the back stick. Driven inside. It was into the path of Pineda, and the referee says play on. Was certainly dragged down, but not enough contact for Bonilla's liking. And now they say it touched the hand of James Vaughn. Well, the small contingent of traveling Richmond supporters incensed. Would have surely been a soft penalty to give, but there was definitely contact in the box. Will that moment be bookmarked by Richmond fans as we come to a close here? Still time for them to render it relatively meaningless. Vinyals. A heavy touch from Moran. And now takes heavy contact from Carrera Garcia. Neil Vinyals, the lone man on this free kick. It's taken quickly. Billhart slithering towards the far side. Ani. Another good-looking cross. Aviles deals with it unconvincingly, and Barnathan skews it wide. What a chance this was. Great cross here from Vaughn. Aviles can only get a palm to it, and then he's in no man's land. And Barnathan unable to roof it into the top corner. Big opportunity for Richmond at the death. Pineda. And fouled by Medense. And now he may enter the official's book. Well, extracurriculars as well. Medense and Vaughn certainly haven't endeared themselves to one another. Ultimately, no caution shown in that interchange. Medense. Falls for Vaughn, and this is Billhart giving chase. He's inside. Apollon drawing Nemhard out of position. Vinyals. Vaughn. Square ball into the edge of the area. There's no one there to greet it. Just 2 minutes and stoppage time separate us from a result. Will the the current scoreline hold, or will someone snatch a winner? Terzaghi in space, awaiting support. He was looking for the run of Vinyals, and it was read to perfection. Still not dealt with yet, though. Here's Vaughn, flashing cross, right across the face of goal, but Vaughn didn't make enough contact on it. Richmond forced to settle for corner. And mounting the pressure as we head into the closing stages. Neil Vinyals on this outswinger. Near post, flicked along. Barnathan was in the path of it. And Fuego given the throw. We rapidly approach the 90. Is there late drama in Fresno tonight? Fitch. Densei wins it back. The hero after the restart that pulled Central Valley on a level playing fields. And Mariona is tugged down by Tony Pineda.
Stoppage time. 4 minutes. 4 minutes have been added.
The USL Championship is on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports, Golazo Network, and ESPN Plus. Go to uslchampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. Set piece here for Central Valley Fuego as we get 4 minutes of stoppage time confirmed. Chris Heckenberg stands over it. Floated towards the back post. It is beyond the reach of Lawal's head. And Vinyals tugged down by Carrera Garcia on the professional foul. As things stand for Fuego, it would be a big result. They entered tonight with 6 consecutive league defeats. Not just winless in 6 matches, but all defeats. It would be their first result since the season opener in league play. I'll make one more change. It is Angel Ruelas who replaces the goal scorer, Alfredo Medense. Good to see Ruelas back. Missed 2 months with an injury. His 4th appearance off the bench. This is Lawal. It's taken away by Terzaghi. Vinyals. Billhart unable to link with El Rey. We've reached the twilight of this fixture. Nathan Awney to take this long throw for Richmond. Comes loose to Vinyals. He committed a transgression in the process. As things stand, neither team would move up in the table. Central Valley would move within a point of Lexington in northern Colorado. Richmond would remain 8th, with teams around them having multiple games in hand. Pineda falls to the feet of Clayton Torr. Heckenberg. Tor is strolling forward. Mariona. It's a good-looking ball. It found Tor's feet. Now to Cutis Lual. And Apollon into the final minute of added time. And the chance may have been lost. Apollon fouling Bill Hart. And time for maybe one final attack. This is beyond the reach of Pineda. A fun one here in Fresno tonight. But it appears the spoils will be shared. We are beyond the 4 minutes. Time for one final attack to play out. No, there's not. That's the full-time whistle. The teams share the spoils here in the Central Valley of California tonight. A 1-1 draw after Guy Franco opened the scoring in the 24th, and the substitute Alfredo Midense pulling Fuego on a level playing ground. It's Fuego's first results since March 9th. Meanwhile, Richmond disappointingly dropping points from a winning position. It finishes all level after 90 minutes. 1-1 at full time between Central Valley Fuego and Richmond Kickers. We'll step aside when we return. Some highlights from the 90 minutes that just unfolded here in the nightcap on this Saturday of League One. Stick with us on ESPN Plus for the recap next.
At Golden Bear Physical Therapy, our goal is to help you reach the best version of you. We specialize in physical therapy, work injury prevention and rehabilitation, athlete training and sports injury, and so much more. So whether you're trying to get back to work or back to practice, call us today and let us help you.
We are back here from Fresno, where it finishes all square between Central Valley Fuego and Richmond Kickers. A 1-1 scoreline after 90 minutes of action here at Fresno State Soccer Stadium. Let's jump into some of the standout moments from the 90 minutes that just unfolded. A fun 90 minutes with a blend of chances and solid defensive play. We pick it up early on. Fuego was pushing on and creating a number of opportunities. In fact, it felt like they could have taken the lead here. Rob Coronado, a lovely strike that drew the palms of Pablo Jara. Then in the 24th minute is when we got the scoring underway. Terrific in-swinging cross. Guy Franco, the beneficiary, with his first professional goal to give Richmond a 1-0 advantage that they carried into intermission. They led 1-0 after 45, but Fuego after the restart pushing on as the night skies continued to emerge. Chances followed for Fuego. Rob Coronado whistling that beyond the far post. And then Richmond had some chances to double their lead as well. This was an unconvincing palm. Dakota Barnathan unable to stab that one top corner. But it was this equalizer that made the difference. Dembor Benson, terrifically weighted ball through to Alfredo Midense, who rounded Pablo Jara to tie it up in the 51st. And after 90 minutes, that's where we sat. Midense, the substitute, the hero tonight, the debutant, with the lovely ball from Benson. There's your look at the stats Fuego with a narrow shots advantage, also with 3 of the 4 shots on target in this match. But the scoreline, the goals is all that matters. A 1-1 scoreline after 90 minutes. Guy Franca cashing in with the only shot on target in a clinical performance that I'm sure Darren Sawalski was more pleased with on the scoring front. Clean match with just 2 yellow cards for Richmond and 1 for Fuego. Slight possession edge for the visitors. That's where we stand after 90 minutes. All square here from Fresno. A 1-1 scoreline as these 2 teams squander an opportunity to move up the table and split the points here in California. We finish at 1-1. So for Sam Goldfarb saying so long, we thank you for joining us. Fuego 1, Richmond 1 after a competitive 90 minutes. Have a good night, everyone.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.